Hey y'all, it's me, your fave Jazz on Fire, and on today's episode of Here's the Heat, we're all gonna address the pandemic in the room with a little Corona chat. And before we move forward, I just want to say thank you to everyone out there who's subscribed, who's watched, liked, comment, or shares. We finally reached 100 subscribers. Jazz on Fire. So we are in month 7-ish of a global pandemic in 2020. Like, that's ridiculous, and it's been a lot. Hopefully we all know the basics of COVID. So the CDC says the main way it can be spread is by contact with contaminated surfaces and then contact with your eyes, mouth, and nose, which is why, it's good to wash your hands, and the mask has to cover both. So not a chin strap, not, leaving your nose exposed, both of them, okay? One thing that I really wanted to emphasize is the idea of the virus being airborne, and I want to put it in as simplest terms as possible. So currently, this does not mean that the virus is just floating through the air, like TB or the flu. Those are airborne. But when we sneeze or cough, or when we even breathe and just talk, we release aerosols, which are respiratory droplets that can infect others if they get into their airways. So I have to breathe in those aerosols. A demonstration I really like was the one that showed the cloud in the wintertime. So you know how like when it's cold, you blow smoke out? This is a really good analogy to show how you release aerosols and droplets. So when you talk, it's not just like words coming out. Like there's, moisture, there's air. And so currently there's some debate between scientists, I will be sure to include this, and the World Health Organization over the potential for airborne transmission, because there's a lot, of people become infected by how. But to knock out that concern, always wear a mask when in close proximity to people, especially in a closed or indoor space. Outdoor too, but closed and indoor spaces are more high risk. That's simple. In other news surrounding the virus, there's been a recall on several brands of hand sanitizer. And if you're anything like me, every time I see it, I try to buy it, not in excess so that way other people can't. But every time I see it, I try to buy it because I just want to make sure that I have it. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We need hand sanitizer, so all these new brands are coming out. But in their rush, they've replaced ethyl alcohol, which is, the normal thing, with methanol. And that's not a good look, not really good for anyone's aesthetic. So I'll be sure to drop the link of all the brands listed on the FDA site that are recalled in the description. So be sure, if y'all have those in your house, return them, throw them out if they're used, and just avoid buying them in the store. Honestly, I would say to stick with what you know. Yeah, so I didn't mean to go all Bill Nye the Science Guy on y'all, but I say all this to say the mask actually does make a difference in washing your hands. So wear a mask and wash your hands. Like, it's not that hard, But if science isn't your forte, maybe a testimony will be more, moving to you. Today's guest is going to be Jeremy Dent. Jeremy agreed to share his experience with coronavirus with us in today's Corona chat. So here is a little bit of what we talked about. How is your health today? Are you fully recovered?
As of right now, I am. I just still have the occasional body aches. And it just feels like, I guess it's like a thing when you knew you had something, it's like you kind of still feel like the whole pressure of it.
So when did you get corona, or when did you learn that you had it?
Okay, so I got tested July 1st. So from me speaking to my doctors, what they're saying was that I had got corona the week before, because the week before I had like a slight cold, like just regular coughing, but I have asthma, so I just thought it was something. Every time at the same point of year, I get sick like every year, so I just thought it was an asthma issue. And when I went and got tested, like before I even got tested, they were like, yeah, like you got all the symptoms of COVID. And I was like, all right, well, just go ahead and do the test. But the real symptom part didn't come in until after I got tested.
Okay. And so I know you mentioned you had asthma, but how old are you? And then do you have any other underlying health conditions?
Right now, I'm 26, and I had asthma since I was born, and that's it, pretty much, just asthma.
Okay. And so the week before, kind of just walk us through like the symptoms that you experienced, and then after learning you had COVID, how those symptoms shifted, if they got worse.
So the week before, the only thing, I just kept having like a dry cough, like a real dry cough. which I thought it came from, like I said, once again, asthma. So that whole week, I just had a regular cough. Then, like I said, I got tested July the 1st. So 2 days before I got tested, that's when I just kept getting like headaches, real bad headaches. And me and my friend decided to go get tested together. The same day I got tested, that night, I said it probably like 6 hours later is when I had the chills, the fevers. I couldn't sleep at night. Like it was just feeling like my whole body was like soaking, like drenched. Like that, my fever got up to 104, I believe. So at the same time, even though I got tested, I was still like, nah, this is just like a regular cold. Like I'm gonna be good. Till my mom had brought me some medicine and was like, look, you just need to take it serious as if you do have it. So from July 1st to like probably the 3rd, it was just chills, fevers, headaches. That were the only main symptoms. Then one day, I say about 2 days later, I woke up. It was probably like 4 o'clock in the morning. I tried to get up to go take my medicine again, and my body was aching. Like I couldn't move at all. Like couldn't move my legs or nothing. So I tried to get up, and I had fell on the living room floor, and I was like trying to figure out what's going on. So then I basically kind of sucked it up and still tried to like move around, but it was like hard. People didn't really know what I was really going through just off the outside looking in. Like I would say, like my body is hurting. Then after that, everything just went like downhill, like super quick.
Yeah, and so I think a lot of people kind of compare it to the flu. So I think this is mostly though the misconception with people who haven't had it. I don't know, have you ever had the flu?
I had the flu years ago.
Okay, how would you compare the two?
My personal experience, the
Yeah.
flu, not nowhere close to it. Like COVID is way past the flu.
Yeah. And so how has your mindset or routine changed since contracting the virus yourself? Because I know a lot of us, especially like the younger generation our age, we're honestly not taking it serious as we could be. We're getting those $50 flights to Miami and we're going still bar
Yeah,
hopping and everything. But I think, a lot of people not need to catch it, but I feel like it seems like it needs to hit close to home in order for people to change and take it serious.
yeah.
So how have you changed since, or like your mindset?
Um, everything. Like my mindset before I got it, it was like I was kind of stuck between two spots because of my son health condition, plus me being a young man wanting to go out and do certain things. I used to joke about it and just make jokes, not take it serious. And then after I got it, it like really slowed me down. Like it's still to this day, certain spots I still don't even go inside.
Absolutely. And then you mentioned your son, or anyone in your household, I guess, that you've been in contact with. Any family members get it, or anyone in your household, or were you pretty much like the only one?
I was the only one. And it's crazy because, like I said, me and my friend went and got tested together, and we rode together and everything. His came back negative. My son lives in the same house with me. His came back negative. Like everybody that been around me. So I was blessed that everybody else could come back negative.
Where you think you got it from? Do you think, because I know you mentioned earlier, like someone's aunt had it, but do you think that's where you got it from? Or maybe was it like out in one of the places that you visited?
I honestly don't really know where I got it from because like I've been trying to think back to all the dates and this and that, but especially like I tell people, especially if you from like North Carolina, like the deep country part, like you have cookouts and everybody's just around each other, so you don't really pay attention. But everybody that I've talked to, like they haven't had it, so I don't know if it was from there or by me just going inside the store without a mask on and just talking to people. I don't know how I got it. Really. It was to a point where I guess I was at that young man stage, not really caring, just waking up, doing what I do, thinking, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna catch it because it can't get me. But like I look at it, everything happened for a reason. I felt like I needed it to happen to see a lot of things and take life more serious.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of people don't realize that this virus doesn't discriminate. It can get young people, older people, and
Yeah.
like once it does hit like a target age, there's no, I guess, face case for it. Like, it
Yeah.
could do really, really a lot of damage to a young person, but then, an older person could heal. So I think that's the biggest thing. But thank you again for sharing your story. I think it's important for people to see like a face, an actual face with it,
Yeah.
especially the younger people, because I still see flyers for parties and I still see
Yeah.
I'm like, what is, I'm like, you know what? I'm a believer. Like, I don't need to get sick to believe, but Jesus, y'all are out there.
It's weird because like you said, everybody is got events going on and everything's so cheap now. Like people hit me up all the time, like, yeah, let's go to this place. I'm like, dude, I'm not coming outside the house like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely not. But thank you again. I really appreciate it.
Are you welcome? No problem.
So I may or may not, or I did, have went to Miami in the beginning of the pandemic. But listen, this was in March, and this was when no one was taking it serious, just the old people. And we were like, oh, the boomers are just old, and who knows? They've seen everything. They are thinking we're gonna die. Had I known what I know now, I probably wouldn't have. However, now that I know how it is now, I will, for sure ain't trying that again. Okay, but I will say that I saw a tweet and it was like, we're battling two pandemics and it's corona and stupidity, and I cannot agree more. And now I'm moving more so away from stupidity because there are plenty of resources, plenty of information out about corona. Like, there's nothing that's happened that can convince me that corona isn't real. So I think people are just being like willfully selfish. And I just feel like we all want this to end. We all want to go back outside. We want outside to be completely open and completely safe. So I just really don't get why people won't wear a mask, stay home, while the government is trying to kill us, with sending us back to schools and work and everything. And I just feel like, if we all do our part to wear our masks, keep our hands washed, social distance, stop partying and like I'm seeing people in bars and clubs. Come on, y'all. Like, it's not it. So let's just all do our part, to stop this spread. However, I will say on a serious note to end, if you have contracted the virus, or someone who has, you are able to donate plasma to help them find a cure. So if you've been, infected with coronavirus and you've recovered, the CDC, the World Health Organization, doctors, all of them folks would love your plasma, so that way they can figure out what's going on with this virus and how to stop it, or at least how to contain it, So that's it. Jazz on Fire out. Jazz on